Welcome to our welcome tonight to today's broadcast after the buzzer. Sorry, a little technical difficulty on my end. A little mistake there. But here we are live. So grateful to Utah Hockey Club to find a way to get a win over the San Jose Sharks. These are the games that you've got to get. These are the games that you've got to find a way to win. And it's one of those things, you got to be happy when you do the thing you're supposed to do. And that's not necessarily something Utah Hockey Club has done this year. My name is Keith Schertz. I run things here at Hive State Hockey. I'll be your director of fun and games this evening. And I would like to just explain a little bit about myself. I used to do the play-by-play for BYU hockey, also for the Utah Valley University Wolverines hockey team. Was able to be involved with and call some big games for the ACHA and call the Collegiate National Championship game a few years back. Love hockey, been involved with hockey. Absolutely thrilled there's a team here in Utah now. So that is who I am. If this is your first time here, hopefully you'll end up enjoying your time here and you'll appreciate what we bring to the table as it relates to the analysis of the Utah Hockey Club. And if you are back here again, like my guy Car Wash, the man in charge of the Car Wash channel, he is here all the time, and I want to congratulate him and you if you're back here again on exceedingly fine taste. Hey, so Utah Hockey Club goes out, they handle their business tonight, which is great, right? It's not always something you can, just count on, that everyone is going to do their job, that they're going to show up. We're going to talk a little bit about Dylan Guenther and his injury. We're going to have an opportunity to kind of discuss some of the issues that has created and some of the difficulties that will create for the second half of the season. Some of my frustrations. You were welcome. Car Wash, you the man. Thank you for being here each night. I like hanging out. I actually have guilt sometimes when life picks up a little bit and I can't jump on the stream right after the buzzer. We try to be here for most games. We are here for most games, but had to miss after the Panthers. A couple things came up. But it's always good to see you back here again, my friend. Glad to see you here. Hey, so look, I just think when this team does what they're supposed to do, like, we have to really make a concerted effort to kind of be proud of the effort that they gave, that they, you begin to trust this team to try to handle their business. And then when they do it, it's a really important thing for us to remember that, having the ruthlessness, the consistency to just bury a team that you're supposed to bury, that is something you absolutely have to do each and every time they get on the ice. This is a game that they should win, and it's a game they did win. However, this was not a very entertaining game from the sense of pleasant hockey to watch. There was a lot of shots. There was a lot of opportunities for both teams to really bury a lot more goals. One of them was disallowed, a Clayton Keller shot that came in from distance. It was a nice shot. They're really severe on that goalie interference. I think it's interesting when you watch the Utah Hockey Club broadcast. Nick Olchek, he never thinks it's goalie interference. He thinks, I think they're going to give this one to him. And then they always take it away. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I just want to, call out that, like, that was not an extremely well played game, but the injury to Dylan Guenther caused a lot of, lineup shakeups and things that, were going to begin looking a little different. I thought it was interesting that they decided to move Logan Cooley up, that no Dylan Guenther kind of gave permission. That's right. A win is a win. And I'm with you. Like, take the win. Like, they did what they were supposed to do. It was ugly, but they have more talent. They've got more high end players than the Sharks, at least with a little bit more experience. Will Smith, Celebrini, Eklund, like all these guys that are on the Sharks that are going to come along. Like, they're good players. But win is a win, to your point. And I think that one of the things that that I liked seeing tonight was that they were able to just kind of hang in there and find a way to kind of ruthlessly handle their business in a game where, it could have gotten discouraging. There was a unbelievable chance in the first period for Clayton Keller. Clayton Keller really should have buried that. It went off his skate. He was trying to get his stick to it. It just didn't, come across. Of course, hockey is a very difficult game. So, but when you have the cage just wide open in front of you and you have the skill of Clayton Keller and you don't finish that's one of those that, I looked at and I was like, hopefully that doesn't haunt us. And then, Krause had an opportunity in the slot and it looked awesome and he fanned. They had some real chances to do some really great things tonight. The Nick Schmaltz goal was great in the second period. And then, of course, obviously it came out slow. They went down, oh, I've got it backwards on my stupid graphic. I'm so mad. Anyway, it's 2-1. I'm going to take that down. That's embarrassing. Hey, so that's all right. Hey, we're someday we'll get it. It's a one-man show. We're trying to throw things together quickly near the end of the games. That's why there's the delay between the end of the game and getting live tonight. What we'll do, though, is the game-winning goal was scored by our main man, Barrett Hayton. And he is the winner of the Martin Brodie Trophy. Of course, the prestigious Martin Brodie Trophy is always awarded to the man who kills the shark and finds a way to get their hands on that game-winning goal. So tonight, that is scored by Barrett Hayton. Here he is accepting it at the NHL Awards tonight. And there it is, the Martin Brodie Trophy given to the game-winning goal scorer for the Utah Hockey Club over the Sharks. We're going to track that through its history, and the history it's starting to add up. It's starting to become fabled. We have a victory over the Sharks that happened on December the 14th. That was by Clayton Keller. He scored it with 42 seconds left. And it was on the power play, if you'll remember. So he is the first ever recipient of the Martin Brodie Trophy. His name's been engraved on the trophy. You can see. We will engrave the name of Barrett Hayton on the trophy as well. And we will track the man who scores the game-winning goal against the Sharks. This will be a trophy that we will give out through the ages. We will see who the career leader in Martin Brodie trophies is. If there's one thing about the NHL, is that there are tons and tons and tons of trophies with names associated with them. And we're definitely going to keep that tradition. I think there should be more trophies that get given out, and I'd like to give out a trophy almost every single game. I think that's something we should be doing. And honestly, the family of Barrett Hayton tonight, I'm certain that it's an emotional night. You take your kid to the hockey rink early in the morning all those years, just hoping and praying for the day where your kid takes home the Martin Brodie Trophy for killing the Sharks. And Clayton Keller is obviously, I'd love to see him win the trophy again, become our first 2-time Martin Brodie Trophy winner. But until that day, we will honor Barrett Hayton. Once again, if you'd like to see him posing next to the trophy, there he is. Barrett Hayton doing his things. Hey, Scott, yeah, the show didn't start a little sooner just because I was busy screwing around making these graphics. So maybe it wasn't worth it. But anyway, I thought it would be funny. So that was kind of the main thing. Hey, so Barrett Hayton, he gets the game-winning goal tonight, and was happy to see Barrett Hayton bury it. You know, it's one of those things that he has struggled with in his career. I actually think Barrett Hayton and his development is kind of the most important thing for the Utah Hockey Club to experience. If Utah Hockey Club is going to elevate itself over the next 2-3 years, the guy that has to elevate his play is Barrett Hayton. During this last offseason after his rookie contract, he only got a 2-year deal from Bill Armstrong. He's had a lot of injuries. COVID really derailed his career and hurt his development. I think the group before Bill Armstrong brought him up a little bit too early, frankly. He could have probably used more time in the minors. Dylan Gunther got more time in the minors. It's really seemed to have paid off for him. But Barrett Hayton, in my opinion, is sort of, if he can develop into a number 1 or number 2 center, and I know he's played as a number 1 and number 2 center, but I'd love to see Barrett Hayton start, controlling games from the face-off circle, finding ways to really drive the forecheck. And I think that his partnership with Keller and Smaltz, it's fine. Obviously, you get to play with really great players in that scenario, but I think Hayton needs other guys on his line that are going to forecheck and that are going to try to help with creating the possession opportunity. And, I think he would love to go to that bumper spot in front of goal and begin battling in front of net, and then from that create tip-ins and goals in those scenarios. And when you play with Clayton Keller, I think Keller wants to see more of the net. I think when he's kind of trying to find that angle, he's just looking, and then tries to slot it through. And I don't know that Keller loves having somebody right in front of the net. It just seems that way. I'm certain that if he got asked, like, yes, I want to screen in front of goal, that seems logical. But at the same time, like, I think he takes the puck on his stick. This is Keller, and then kind of finds angles and tries to move the defensive players in front of the goalie before he takes his shot. And so he's not necessarily looking for his own teammate to help with the screen in front of net. But regardless, I think that's something that Barrett Hayton could really, thrive at, going in front of the net. The other thing, too, is like there is just... And we've talked about this on the show before. It's something that I'm planning on putting together more strictly. I'm going to do, because now we're officially halfway through the season, I want to go through and give grades to all the players, talk about how they're doing, what's working, what's not working, and kind of hopefully set expectations for the second half of the season. But Utah Hockey Club has one of these things where Barrett Hayton, he is got the problem of the advanced stats really love what he's doing on the ice and the opportunities he's getting with the puck on his stick. But he does not score. So his expected goal total is always way higher than his actual goals. So either that means he's just got like no puck luck. That's number 1. But expected goals is trying to not predict puck luck. It's trying to say he ought to score from that position with all the things considered. And then, or the other issue is that he's not a strong finisher. And I think that that's what the answer is that his ability to compete and get to the places on the ice that he should gives him a lot of chances to score a lot of goals and to create opportunities in those ways. And Barrett Hayton is not finding ways to then finish with the puck on his stick. Last year, of players, now he got hurt midway through the season. He broke his hand, and then he ended up scoring, actually. But I have that as a YouTube short on this channel. If you're interested, you can find that. But one of the things that Barrett Hayton has had an issue with throughout his career has been that his expected goals and what the advanced stats are saying, this is how many goals he ought to have scored, and then what he's actually scored. The disparity in that, he is among the, I guess, worst in all the NHL. This happens to Barrett Hayton year after year. It's a pattern. And so I think it's a question of finishing and hitting the net. And then beyond that, like, it's not hitting the net. It's bigger. The bigger issue is just like making that fast twitch, like the rebound comes onto a stick, that opportunity comes there, and then can he slam the puck into the back of the net? So it's one of the things that needs to come along. If Barrett Hayton comes along and becomes, really solid 2C, or Cooley is the 1C and Hayton is the 2C, and we're solved on our top two lines, and then, we really like what Cole Beaudoin can provide, kneeing aside in the World Juniors. Cole Beaudoin, he is prototypically a third line center. That is kind of exactly what he is. I don't think he's going to have a whole lot bigger upside, but it puts you in a position to be pretty good right down the middle. But again, that's only if Barrett Hayton really comes along. It's one of those, like, he's good. You can see that there's things there. His pedigree is high. He was a lottery pick. In fact, I think he was top 5. I think he was number 5 in the draft. But I would love to see Barrett Hayton come along. I think he's the most important player from a developmental standpoint. Logan Cooley's going to come along. I'm not concerned about Logan Cooley being a like 8 to 10 time All-Star. Like, he's going to come along. He's got more to gain in his game. One of the things that he needs is there's possession statistics, his face-off circle. He's got to get better winning on the draw. There are things that Logan Cooley can do, he will do in order to improve his game. I believe he's going to come along. But one of the bigger things is Barrett Hayton. If Barrett Hayton is part of the solution for Utah Hockey Club long term, it'll be big. He's on a prove-it contract right now. And I don't know that there's been enough there to say that, like, oh, he proved it, let's give him the big, like, 6-year, 7-year deal. That is not where we're at with him at this point. But I do believe he could be one of those guys. So it's a fascinating thing. I don't know how we get him up from that. Yeah. So 18 points through 41 games. Yep. So he needs to be better than it's lower than half a point a game. Again, from an advanced stat standpoint, I looked at it today. I think he's like down 4 goals. Like, they say he should have had 4 more goals this year based on his expected goals versus actual goals. Let me get that specifically. Let me just take a second to take a look at that. But his ability to finish, yeah. So there you go. So he gets the goal tonight. So he's at 5 goals on the season through 41. And his expected goals, this will get posted tomorrow. His expected goals coming in tonight was 8.5 goals. So, yeah, that's going to put him around 3.5 to 4.5 goals under what he should have done according to the advanced stat models at Evolving Hockey, which I think is the best place to look at those advanced stat hockeys. Yeah, the arena capacity for next year, Scott, I don't know the exact number. I will say, though, that they are planning on beginning construction to add to it. I think they're doing one end of the ice to make it so that it's not just the big black wall where there's like 4 rows and then a big black wall. So I think one end of the ice gets fixed going into the next year. So instead of being a place that has like 12,000 seats, maybe it becomes a place that adds like, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I just screwed up tonight. That's all it was, Car Wash. I'm glad you like that music. Yeah, but the arena capacity for next year, Should probably add another, couple thousand seats, I would guess. My understanding is that this offseason they're going to do one end, the other, and then following that one in 2016 they'll do the other side, and then supposedly they'll be good to go. I don't know how they're going to do that. That's one of those I'd love to ask an engineer or see all the pictures of how they're going to do that, because those obstructed view seats from the upper bowl, they're kind of bonkers. I don't know if you've seen a game in the obstructed view, but that's an unfortunate place to watch a hockey game. It's kind of important to see the entire field. One time I went to Wrigley Field to go watch the Chicago Cubs. I didn't know the park well enough. I bought a seat on the third baseline, and I sat right behind a post, which made it so that I couldn't see home plate. So when the batter would swing or whatever, I couldn't see anything. I just would have to listen and then try to find the ball. The Jazz get a lot more. I'll see if I can get Ryan Smith on the show, Car Wash, and then we can ask him all the questions. I'll make a request. I'll send something in to Utah Hockey Club. I think he has time for us. Yeah, I'd love to ask Ryan Smith. That would be fun, wouldn't it? I'm sure, there's lots of questions that would be asked there, but the bigger thing is that isn't it concrete in the upper concourse? Like, how are they going to fix? I kind of get how they're going to do it for the lower concourse. I don't get how they're going to do it on the upper concourse. So there it is. Let's talk for a second about the big news of the day, maybe more consequential than the win over San Jose, is the news that the Dylan Guenther hit that he took from Alexander Barkov against the Panthers on Wednesday night is going to make it so that he is out indefinitely. And this is, of course, bad news. We'd like to see Guenther continue to come along. It was interesting to watch him this season, as he's the team leader in goals. That is a big hit to this team, especially as they want to make a run towards the end of the season and find a way to maybe try to sneak into the playoffs or at least be in the wild card hunt and play some meaningful games. So one of the things that we want to just talk about is I'm a little frustrated that there isn't anything. It's obviously something with his legs. I have looked, in the NHL, they're very, 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 they're not forthcoming about what the status of these injuries are. And so one of the issues that we're going to have, is, we have to speculate, and that ends up not being very cool either, right? So, like, all we know is that Dylan Guenther is out indefinitely, which is like, that makes you scared. It's like, is it the end of the season? And all that we've been given was by Andre Tourigny. He got asked, and all he said is, it'll be a long time, but I don't think it'll be that long. So the question is like, well, do you rush him back? I mean, we have him signed through 2034. We saw a lot to love this season. He's got an unbelievable shot. Like, unless he's got like, a clean bill of health and like, but it's not just like, he could go. It's one of those like, is it back like all the way? If he's got a sprain or if it's a ligament or it's a knee or something like that, like, They said so well, but we saw from it, right, that it was a lower body injury, I think. So anyway, but I just think that I've seen on other reports too, like there's been other reports that come out where it says like, oh, the player needs surgery, and so then you have to take a look at like, well, okay, well, do they need surgery or not? Other teams have gone out of their way, especially even on the report that's on NHL.com right now. As I've taken a look at that, let me just look at that. I'll pull it up right quick. Yeah, it's just right from NHL.com. Connor Zary is out for the Calgary Flames. He says he's out indefinitely because he needs a knee surgery. Or, sorry, he has a knee injury that will not require surgery. All it says on Dylan Guenther is he's out indefinitely for Utah with a lower body injury. So we know it's a lower body injury, but some of the other reports will indicate, he doesn't need surgery. The one underneath the Dallas Stars, one it says Mason Marchment is expected to be out 3 to 4 weeks after the forward had surgery to repair facial injuries he sustained. So no report yet on whether or not Dylan Guenther needs surgery and whether or not he is going to be at, like, when it says out indefinitely, like, yay. So, yeah. So there's that. Feels like a bit of an early rivalry with the Sharks at this point. I agree with you. That first game, which I know we're supposed to pretend never happened, right? But the first game in the Delta Center where, the Sharks got their first win of the season and were able to beat Utah because they had the huge comeback right down the stretch. That was a big, disheartening game, and it was this kind of big moment in the season. And I felt like when we went to that place, we won by 1. So they've beaten us by 1. We beat them by 1 twice now. I think that's it for this year's season series. We're certainly not going to see them in the playoffs. I don't think we're going to make it. I don't think San Jose is going to make it. But with all the young players and what they're supposed to grow into and build to, if we have a bunch of young players and then we start to, kind of develop at the same time, it may be that we are going to be playing the San Jose Sharks quite a lot. That might be quite a great rivalry. And I don't know if you saw it, Scott, but we're going to, around these parts, we've got the Martin Brody Award. The Martin Brody Award is awarded to the person who kills the shark and is responsible for the game-winning goal over the San Jose Sharks. So there you go. I'm just showing it off again because it's beautiful. I actually need to literally make this trophy. I love this trophy. And you know who else loves this trophy? Barrett Hayton, because he won it tonight. So congratulations to Barrett Hayton on his big win. So that is the Martin Brody Trophy, and I think it'll be a prestigious one for the folks who play for the Utah Hockey Club. You've got to put down the San Jose Sharks. You got to be the one that takes home that Martin Brody Trophy. Your name will get engraved on it. You'll have it forever. I think it's going to be a great rivalry, actually. I agree with you. There is some heat. There was a fight right at the end of it. This is the last time these teams had a chance to see each other. I think that's it for this year. So, I think it'll be great to, hopefully they have better days coming forward. Hopefully we have better days coming forward. I think this is a nice rivalry, tempo. Now San Jose is not great, and we are technically maybe 2-3 years in front of the Sharks, but it would be great if both of the franchises have the thing happen that both franchises are hoping, where they develop into like a year after year powerhouse. That would be really fun. They may be what we measure ourselves against in the coming years. So I think that's a great point. It's a great take. So I'll just go over some of the first half of this season, just a couple of the things that I wanted to kind of highlight. And for me, I like to take a look at where are we from a 5-on-5 standpoint, because you can look at the overall goal totals, and that is an important thing to be aware of. But when you look at it from a 5-on-5, so when it's even strength, normal run of play, the player leading Utah Hockey Club this season after 41 games in 5-on-5 is Jack McBain. He's got 9 goals in 5-on-5 hockey. He's been terrific in that setting. Clayton Keller is right behind him. Actually, I think tonight he did. So this is looking at it. So adding an updating. Clayton Keller and Jack McBain are tied for first with 9 goals. On the assists standpoint, Nick Schmaltz has the most 5-on-5 assists. Clayton Keller has the second most. He's tied with Logan Cooley. So 14 assists. And then if you're interested in primary assists versus secondary assists, Michael Kesselring leads the team on primary assists in 5-on-5. So the thing that tells me is just there's been a whole lot of the assists for Schmaltz and Keller and Cooley where they have been kind of on the secondary assist line instead of the primary assist line. It doesn't cheapen it. Those secondary assists are important. You need to do the job as it relates to that. In terms of driving play, so when we're talking about driving play, we want to talk about great, enabling the Utah Hockey Club to be on the right end of the ice and in order to get a shot off. So in terms of driving play, it is interesting as you take a look at what Utah Hockey Club has done this year in terms of all shots. So these are shots that have been blocked, shots that have missed the net, shots that have been saved. Okay? So all shots that have been taken, that's called a Corsi measurement. So it measures everything. It's not necessarily shots on goal. It's all shots taken. It's probably the best way to look at driving play. And it's fascinating. In 5-on-5, the guy who's driving the most play and taking the most shots at this time is Dylan Guenther. So again, the loss of Dylan Guenther looms so large over the Utah Hockey Club. It's one of the most difficult things that they're going to have to deal with is not only has he been kind of the focal point of what they're trying to do and changing, he had gravity around him on the power play where he'd get on that left wing circle and, they'd be so afraid of the seam pass through there. They were always thinking about protect left wing on the power play. It'll be interesting to see how that adjustment will work. I thought it was interesting to see what they were trying to do with that, where they put Hayton in the bumper spot. They put Schmaltz over where Guenther was, and then they've continued to let Logan Cooley be a rover on the ice and find his way around and see what works for him. So that's been an interesting thing to take a look at. When you look at overall Corsi in terms of driving play, it's Dylan Guenther number 1, Clayton Keller number 2, and then, interestingly, Michael Kesselring, number 3, from the blue line, has been doing an unbelievable job this year from the blue line. I think the development and kind of come up with Kesselring and the kind of hockey he's played at different stretches of the season, that has been a absolute kind of out of nowhere blessing. This is somebody that we thought was maybe a third pair defenseman coming into the season. Right now, outside of Sergachev, he's the best defensive player that for the Utah Hockey Club. In my opinion, I like him better than what you're getting from Cole or from Valimaki or from Mata. I really am enjoying a lot of the play that you're getting out of Michael Kesselring. And yeah, he is starting to get power play time. Kesselring is usually quarterbacking the power play for that second unit, and that again was not something that was in the cards at the beginning of the season. But he doesn't do usually that second unit on the power play doesn't get much time anyway. But when he's in, he's doing good things with the puck, and he's getting it to. Usually, what I'm picturing in the power play scenarios is he seems to get it over to Michelli, and then Michelli kind of works it down low and then tries a cross seam pass, and that hasn't gone super good yet. But he is getting power play time, and Kesselring is really developing. So again, if we're talking about a young guy, I think that he's a second-year player, and he's playing tons of minutes already this season. Yeah, I mean he's got 667 minutes. That is the third highest total in 5-on-5. It's the third highest total this season, so he's doing a great job from that. So in terms of driving play, Kesselring has been a really great force in terms of, it tells you he's getting the puck out of his own end, it's getting to the other end of the ice, and he's putting the puck towards the net. So you love to see it. In terms of the effectiveness, the overall effectiveness, though, of when people are taking shots, one of the things that Utah Hockey Club is really struggling with is that a lot of their shots that they're taking are not getting to the net. The percentage of shots that make it to the net is just so incredibly low, especially in 5-on-5. They are just not doing the job of getting effective looks at the net. And so that's one of the things in the second half of the season that I'd like to see more of. Is I'd like to see them, they seem to get better looks on the net on the rush than they do in the cycle. And this is not a team that has done a lot to try to, get on the break and get out of the zone and get through the neutral zone and then drive towards the net. That's just not something that they've done from an effective place that often this year. This is a team that, for whatever reason, even though they've got so much speed and so much, potential in that place, they're spending most of their time, kind of working their way into the zone, having a drop off near the blue line, maybe trying to make a cross ice pass after you get in the blue line. There just isn't a lot of get in deep, do forechecking. But I think that's one of the upsides potentially of Josh Doan coming into the lineup and playing. I think he was terrific tonight. I think he brought a lot of forechecking to this team, which was something that was refreshing to see. This is not a team that traditionally has done a lot of forechecking, and you saw he created opportunities for his line mates through his efforts tonight. So I thought that was an interesting grouping tonight. I think we saw a lot of Michelli and Hayton and Josh Doan. So, we'll see. The one thing that the Dylan Guenther thing created was an opportunity for Michelli to move up a line to try to show that he is a top 6 kind of player. This is something that he needs to prove during this opportunity for him, that as he moves up in the lineup, his skill set says he's a top 6 player, but his finishing, his shooting is not that. And so we'd like to see that come along. And his passing is obviously really great. His highlights, if you watch his highlights, he might have the most fun highlights of any player on this team. But at the same time, there's a lot more to being a great hockey player than creating great clips that are going to look great on TikTok, right? It's doing all of it. He's not a forechecking player, and he doesn't have to be effective, but it is an interesting thing when you look at Matias Michelli and kind of try to understand what he can provide. It's an opportunity for him to be like, put a stamp on, I am a top 6 kind of player. I can play make well enough, and I can get so many more goals on the scoreboard if you give me a chance. So I think he is going to get that chance. On the third line, now they tried a thing where they put McBain and Stenlin and Kerfoot together on the third line, and I think that is a really fascinating group, because I just think it would be no fun to play against that grouping of because Kerfoot is he's so aggressive and he uses so much energy on the ice, and as he does all those things, he is just a menace to go against. I think that as you deal with Alexander Kerfoot and kind of just he just does so many things right and plays so hard. And then you have Stenlin, who's just kind of this physical force and kind of defensive and so good with his stick. And then you combine into that Jack McBain and his hits and how willing he is to kind of give up his body and block shots and do all of those things as a forward. And yeah, I mean, he leads the team in hits, and it's not even close. McBain is going to be, I mean, he's just not a fun player to be against. So I think that line is interesting. And then that fourth line, starts to stack up, and it looks kind of different as well. And so if you put, recently it's been Spicy Tuna and Kraus and, for heaven's sakes, why am I blanking on him? Bukestad. That has been the fourth line. And so it'll be interesting. I think O'Brien has brought in some good energy to Kraus and Bukestad, but we're going to see the return on that game after game will start to decrease. And I think we'll see Michael Carconi again, because I think he does more to create things for this team. But so I think it'll be really fascinating to continue to watch that as that develops. Josh Doan coming up and instantly just finding himself in one of those top lands. Do you get any former Coyote fans in here? Yeah, we do. We get some. Yep. I think a lot of the former Coyote fans are pretty disappointed, A, that the team's not there, and then B, that franchise really didn't give that many things for them to be happy about. So I'm always surprised. They've got a lot more tolerance than a lot of people. But I think for a lot of Arizona Coyote fans, it's a good riddance scenario. Like, enough's enough. Like, that's okay. I'm fine with being done with them. So yeah. Yeah, I should. I'll try it. It'll be fun. We'll see. Why not? You can say, all you can do is ignore it or say no, right? So yeah, I will. I actually will. I will submit a request to see if I can get more information in relation to the remodel plan. I think that they're working on that, though. I don't know. I'd be amazed if it's actually like fully baked at this point. Actually, I just know that they are interested in doing it. Just to speak on that, I thought the rumor was that Ryan Smith was going to have them build a little further south in Salt Lake Valley, down near kind of the Draper area, because I think he has land. Like, doesn't he have the land that? Anyway, the rumor I heard, I don't know. I shouldn't say anything. The rumor I heard was that they had the prison, where the prison used to be. Maybe Ryan Smith owns that land now? Maybe, is what I heard. I don't know. These are things I've heard, that he wanted to build the arena there, but then the government came in and said, no, we're part of what helped you get this team here, and we want the business to be in Salt Lake City. So that went away, and now they're remodeling the arena there, because he certainly was also looking for public funds to help build the new arena. I agree. It might be hard to get Ryan Smith on, but why not ask? If you ask, they might say yes. Even if it's not Ryan Smith, we may be able to get a good answer from somebody about what the plans are. Okay. As it relates to the rest of kind of the team, I just thought that the team, will have a really interesting opportunity now with Dylan Guenther out. If that is it that we saw from Dylan Guenther this year, I think it's a bravo season. I think he did a great job in his 40 games. I think he gave us plenty of things to be hopeful for and confident about as the rest of the season will go on. They're going to want the capacity to, they'd like to sell a lot of tickets. There's no question about it. Yep. And I think that they can sell that many. That wasn't it that they got over 20,000 season ticket deposits paid, like within the first 72 hours. So I think there was, at least at the beginning, enough interest in this team to potentially drive, a bigger arena like that. But there's so much data on what it has looked like for the Utah Jazz and how to run that. I'm sure that they'll follow their principles and run a very profitable thing here. Okay. Well, so that's it. 2-1. The final score over the San Jose Sharks tonight, with Barrett Hayton scoring the game-winning goal. Again, I want to congratulate Barrett Hayton on finding his way into the history books. He is the winner. He's the second ever winner of the Martin Brody Trophy. So congratulations to him. My name is Keith Schertz. Again, I appreciate you all hanging out here tonight. Scott, Car Wash, thanks for hanging out in the chat, and enjoyed seeing you guys here again. And tomorrow night, the Utah Hockey Club is going to be taking on the New York Islanders, a team the Utah Hockey Club beat back in the second game of the season. They beat them on the road out. Yeah. So in the second game of the season, they beat the New York Islanders, and it was an exciting game. I believe it was an overtime winner in that one. But the Islanders have been playing a lot better. They really took it to the Golden Knights the other night. I don't know if anybody else saw that. Sorokin has times where Ilya Sorokin just looks absolutely crazy. I really love / hate the New York Islanders. I think that they play a style of hockey that I would love if it was now, when they've been good. They haven't had a very good year this year. But when they've been good, they play a style of hockey that I would love for my team to play, but I hate watching as like a casual fan. They are hard-nosed. They are this aggressive team. Anders Lee is this, I love that kind of captain, where he can beat the crap out of you, and he can also score some goals, and he's good defensively. Yeah, he's just a good player, Anders Lee. And then they've got all these other guys, right, that just all play hard, and you watch him play, and you're like, how's Scott Mayfield good? Why is he effective? And Pelech and Cizikas and all the other players that they have that, for whatever reason, make a difference when you watch them play. But it's a team that when they've been good and all that stuff, you would just love to watch your team be like that. And it's also not very fun to play against them. And then beyond that, as a casual, whenever you turn on the Islanders, it's kind of boring. But Sorokin can have times where he's super hot. So will be an interesting game on a back-to-back. I think the rest advantage goes to the New York Islanders. This is the third game in 4 nights for Utah Hockey Club. That tends to be, from a rest perspective, a difficult thing to overcome. But we've talked about this at the beginning of the homestand. They need to take care of business during this homestand. This is a time of the season where they need to stack up some points if they are indeed going to get one of those wild card spots. I believe that they have a shot at getting the wild card as well, Scott, but they are going to be challenged along the way. It is not a slam dunk. They are going to have to find more consistency as they go along. And really, honestly, the answer is they need a lot more blue line support. They cannot continue to have injuries on the blue line. And while it was great that the first ever point for Utah Hockey Club was recorded tonight for Nick DeSimone, again, I would love to have DeSimone be this wonderful surprise for the Utah Hockey Club, but I don't know if this is like a Dakota Mermis scenario, and we're only going to see him for a little bit, but yeah, it's like Dakota Mermis, by the way, like that's going to go down as like, one of those like trivia questions, or like when you're looking in the future and they're like, people like, yeah, like, you remember that time Dakota Mermis played for the Utah Hockey Club? Oh, he's a blue line. He played one game. It'll be interesting. And I'll do that too. Hey, yeah, I'll do it. Car wash. I'll make the show better next time. Hopefully you enjoyed the trophy feature, and we'll be doing a lot more to review kind of the first half. I'm gonna look at it more intense, have some graphics, show off the grades for the first half of the season, and then things that I hope that we can look for over the course of the second half of the season. And yeah, too many big name players hard on the blue line. Again, we thought Kesselring was going to be on the third pair. He's had to play first pair kind of minutes, or be in charge of the second pairing. He has really stepped up in a nice way. But again, John Marino, Sean Dursey, it would be great to see them come along. They added Olimata. Obviously, Ian Cole has been fine. I think it's interesting. We signed Bortuzzo as a 7. He's played a lot more than you would. I think he thought he was going to play. I certainly think it's the case that Ian Cole has played more. I thought that he was going to kind of be in this rotation role. Obviously, Maverick Lamoureux getting hurt, so they've been killed on that front. Hey, did I hear about Ingram? Yeah. Yep, Ingram's back on the team. Obviously had some personal stuff that happened with him, and he won the Masterson Trophy last year for his resilience. So obviously he'll be able to get through that. But as somebody who's also lost a parent, that is a very difficult thing to go through, and I wish him well. It's a really difficult thing to sustain the loss of your parent. I think he lost. I should look, but yeah, I think it was his mom, and I've been through that, man, and it's not a fun thing to go through. And I hope emotionally he's hanging in. It's one of those things that never really goes away, but will always be something that he will. He'll think about. He'll be surprised at how much he thinks about it, and it doesn't seem to matter how long the clock ticks. It's going to be one of those things that happens. So yeah, yep, it was his mother. So yeah, we wish him well, and hope that he'll get back to it. And I hope he gets his an opportunity to get back in the groove and play like he did last year for the Arizona Coyotes. Yeah, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Yeah. Yep, it took him a while, right? He never really came back from it as a Coyote, and then he went to the Canucks, and it didn't really happen there. It wasn't until, he went to a team where it needed to kind of come along slowly for him, right? So he went to the Panthers, and then it came together, and this year he's been on the Maple Leafs. It's been a great fit for him on the Maple Leafs this year. So, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Yeah. So hopefully it doesn't take years for it to come back for Connor Ingram, but we know that Connor Ingram is somebody who's dealt with emotional turmoil. He may be more able to cope with it because he's had to think about and train himself through those things, but it's a good thing that Vejmelka's coming, and it'll be interesting to see what this means for Connor Ingram long term. And so we wish him well. And then, yes, Gunther, yeah, we really hope that the injury isn't as bad as I'm worried it is. When they give no timeline, they say he's out indefinitely. I kind of think we've seen the rest of what we're going to see from him this year. So that's a bummer. So, I hope that's not. I hope that's not real. I hope that's not the truth. But it is kind of what I'm concerned of. So, all right, that is it for tonight's show. Thanks again for hanging out. Scott Car Wash, thank you for being in our chat and participating. For those of you who've come in and out, thanks for checking in with us. Give a little thumbs up on the stream if you've enjoyed it. We'll be back again. We'll try to come on tomorrow evening following the game against the Islanders. We'll do a first half review, talk about the second half, and then, of course, we'll talk about the action on the ice at the Delta Center between the Utah Hockey Club and New York Islanders. And we'll check in with Ryan Smith. Why not? Let's try it. And we'll see if we can get more answers on what's going to happen with the arena down here. But take care of yourself. I hope everything is going really well for you and what you're thinking about. And I hope we'll see you again around here next time. We'll see you real soon tomorrow night. Utah wins 2-1 over the San Jose Shark based on a big goal with 1 minute and 30 seconds left by Barrett Hayton. Have a good night.